we've Kip Hughes and Mark Brill have gotten together and have reopened Enid Speedway and are doing one show a month there at Enid Speedway. And luckily enough, they asked the Sooner Late Model Series to be a part of that, and we got to go up there. Also, my first trip ever to Crawford County Speedway in Van Buren, Arkansas, that was an experience for me. I always like going to new tracks and meeting new people, and the track was really good. The fans really loved us. They want to have us back up there, and we want to try to schedule another event up there. It's a bit of a drive for us, but, you know, real racers don't mind traveling.
Oh, no, especially when you get to go to a new track for the first time. It's like being a kid all over again, going to the races for the very first time. The anticipation of what to expect, what kind of racing is it going to be, just a whole new atmosphere, different state. Hey, we can all relate to being at a new track for the first time. It's like, for me personally, going to a new track is like the first time I walked into Eldora for the first time. It's just awe-inspiring.
It is. And I love that track up there at Enid. I love the setup. It has, as you know, that old stadium look to it and feel to it. Not
reminds me of Bowling Green in that aspect.
Not unlike Oklahoma State Fairgrounds was. You know, it's not totally different from that track as far as grandstands and that kind of setup goes. And it's been great going up there. We've had a lot of success. We've had a bunch of new drivers join us this year. We were lucky enough this past weekend. We added our first ever female competitor in the Sooner Late Model Series. And I say first ever like it's been a long time. This is, of course, only our second year in existence. But still, it's a mile point for us, you know, a milestone.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw where you had posted that earlier, and that's always great to see the women out there mixing it up with the boys and doing some traveling around Oklahoma, and especially in the late model series. I mean, to just jump into any late model in any aspect, man, that's a tall order, and you know you got to get out there and be on your A game at all times. And man,
hey, especially with our group, you better be a driver. I can tell you that right now.
Well, she's proven she can get the job done, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on her and see what she has to offer for the rest of the season and beyond. But let's talk a little bit about what happened last weekend with the Sportmods out at Red Dirt Raceway in Meeker. And here in just a little while, feature winner Jared Baird is going to come on. He's going to talk about picking up the win out there. He's going to talk about a successful 2017 so far. And, man, he's hit the nail on the head with something on that car. Man, he has not varied from it very much because that car has been very, very consistent, finding its way to victory lane all year long. But heat race action from last weekend. Heat 1 went to Jared Baird. Heat 2 went to Chase Vineyard. Heat 3 went to Johnny Rauschenberg. And Heat 4 went to Jeff Roselle. And your feature looked like this. Baird taking home the win. Roselle was second. Rauschenberg third. Glenn Chapman came home in fourth. Chase Vineyard was fifth. Your hard charger, Frankie Bardero, starts 13th, brings it home sixth. Good job, Frankie. Anthony Hicks was seventh. Kyle Cho was eighth. Austin Griggs brings it home in ninth. Chris Wilhite rounds out the top 10. John Summers, last week's guest, he made a move up in the point standings this week. He came home in 11th. Mike Spencer was 12th. Tanner Ridge was 13th. 14th went to Sean Jorsky, and rounding out the field was Glenn Wiley. And Steven, you were there last Saturday night out there at the Red Dirt Raceway at Meeker. You guys pushed it back a night for the threat of rain. And you know, what did you think of the overall atmosphere and some of the action that you got to see Saturday night out there at Meeker?
Well, everything went well. I mean, we had some pretty good action. Had a lot of different things going on last weekend. You know, for one, we had to push it back to Saturday night, which kind of made me a little nervous. We had a lot of big races we had to compete against this last weekend, so I was a little worried about the car count. We ended up with a decent car count. You know, I wish we could have more, but you know, I can live with 15. Cody Brewer, you know, he decided, hey, let's do something different for the fans. And I said, what's that? He goes, let's run two different heat races. We'll run one heat race, invert everybody, and have them run again. So the guys in the back got to start in the front, and it was something different. It gave it a little bit more racing for the fans to watch, and it made it a little bit more competitive for everybody.
Yeah, and what driver doesn't pass up on any chance to play with his toy just a little bit extra throughout the course of the night, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, when you go out there, you go out there for 8 laps or so in the heat race, and then you get your features, and after the night's over, you're like, man, I just needed just a few more laps. I didn't get it all out of me. So yeah, that gets a little bit more racing out of you.
Hey, man, let's talk a little bit about that trophy you had made up for the show last week, the Sportmods Showdown. Man, how cool was that? Where did you get that at?
John Carter, he's from Warframe Athletics. He texted me all week, actually for about 2 weeks. He says, man, I got this cool trophy. You're going to love it. I was like, okay, I'm pretty excited about it. And he goes, oh, I'm serious. You're going to love this trophy. I'm like, all right. Well, I'm sitting there waiting, like, when are you going to send this picture? When are you going to send this picture? And I'm waiting and waiting. Finally, Saturday, he sends it. He goes, it's on your way. And I was like, oh, you had to wait till this long for me to see this. But man, that trophy was cool. You know, I had a piston on it with a little connection rod. That was a cool trophy. I can't wait to see what he comes up next with the next race.
Yeah, that next race being this weekend down in Ada. Talk a little bit about that. You guys making your first trip down there this year, and looking forward to that. I know everybody is. Everybody getting down there and trying out the racetrack. Tell us a little bit about your expectations coming into this weekend.
Man, I really think we're going to have a pretty decent car count. I've got a lot of people excited about it. I got people from southern Oklahoma that really can't do some of the series in the northern parts just because they're so far away, and that gives them more of a chance to come out and join the series because that's what they want to do. And of course, you got some of these other regular guys that get to come out and race at different tracks, and it gives a little bit of mix of everything for everybody. I've been really liking the fact that we have Enid with the big dirt track, with the big 3/8 miles, and we got the quarter mile of Meeker, and now we have another 3/8. But it's different. It's the track is shaped so much differently than every other track, and it just gives these drivers a little bit different style of driving, and I really enjoy having the mixture of everything.
Is there any plans coming up for down the pipe? Have we gotten any more new tracks added to the list? Any more irons in the fire as we look to wrap up 2017 and look for what's coming ahead in 2018?
Well, as far as this season, we got Ada coming up this weekend, and then after that we'll have Enid for the rest of the season. Then we'll just wrap up the year November 4th. And that'll be the end of the season for that. And then we'll end up having the banquet and everything else. But I'm already talking about trying to get some tracks for 2018. I've been talking to a few tracks, and I really hope that the tracks that I talk to will come on board with us because I'm just a regular racer. I love all tracks. I want them all.
Now, for those that may not have heard or wasn't listening last week, remind everybody about the little Texas-Oklahoma rivalry was going to be renewed in a whole new way next year as the Sooner Series goes south of the border here in Oklahoma and invades the state of Texas. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we already got set dates for that track, and like I said, we're going to be working on the other tracks to get them set dates. But as far as that track in particular, we have the first Saturday in April, which I believe is April 7th, 2018. We'll be running out there. That will be our first race of the year. I decided to have that the first race of the year because, usually in April in Oklahoma, we're actually having the weather that we're having right now, which is kind of odd. But most of the time in April in Oklahoma, you're getting bad weather. So I was thinking maybe we bring it down south and maybe we get a little bit more racing out of it. And plus, if we start in Texas, it'll bring the Texas guys on board with us as well. Then we'll have another race in August, which will be it'll be also a first Saturday. The first Saturday in August, and I believe that's August 4th. And I think if I can get everything to work out like I wanted to, I would like to get a little bit of sponsorship, and we'll have just a big Red River rivalry for the whole Sooner Sportmods down there in Texas. I think that'll be really cool.
Yeah, I don't think there's any Okie that runs the series or follows the series that wouldn't like to see some kind of Red River rivalry, kind of like a not necessarily a bedlam thing, but if you're from Oklahoma or Texas, you know exactly what we're talking about. If you're not, just think of your next collegiate biggest rival, and that's amp it up by like 10, because that's what Oklahoma and Texas is, racing and football. Larry, let me have you chime in on something here. This Sportmod, the Sportmod deal in its first year, you've been to several of the races. You've been around racing long enough to see something that works versus something that doesn't work. Man, what's your initial thoughts on the early success of the Sportmod series?
Well, I knew when they first started talking about doing it that the response from the drivers was tremendous, just like it was with the late models when we first started it. When they first put it out on Facebook, there was a great response from the drivers. They wanted to know what it was going to be like and how the pay was going to be paid. For a driver, even though we love to race, we like to get a little something at the end of the night to do more than just carry us back home. And luckily, we got the tracks to agree to a decent purse for them. And they've had a really good car count most of the nights. And the racing has been really, really awesome. They've had some of, you just have to say the best names in sport mods in the state have chimed in and jumped in and come on board. And, you've got Jared Baird and Jeff Roselle. Robert Elliott has run with them. The names just keep going. Dorsky, on and on and on. And I think it's been really successful and really great. And it gives the guys the opportunity to go around, maybe a little bit like you guys were talking about, different tracks, different setups, different gear ratios, different driving styles. Like Steve mentioned down there at Red River, you've got to approach that track a whole lot differently than you do almost any track. And you better not be too afraid of the wall, especially on the backstretch, because you're going to get close to it.
Oh, absolutely. And, you had mentioned along those lists of names, lucky enough the series to have guys like Jared Baird that run with it. Well, it just so happens through the magic of radio, we are joined right now from Norman, Oklahoma native Jared Baird. Jared, welcome to the show, and congratulations on picking up that win Saturday night, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Man, it's going to be old hat for you down there, isn't it?
Yeah, man. It's been a hell of a 2017 for you, man. Did you guys find a lucky horseshoe, or what's going on over there?
Oh, it's been a pretty good year, Last year we got on board with Ramirez Race Cars and got with Brandon Kinney up there and got a car built. And, it's set right at home. It's been a good piece. And, last year we just kind of played around with it a little bit. And this year we've kind of taken it a little bit more serious. So it's been a good car.
Yeah, you brought out the new bodies last week. Car's looking really good. Let's talk a little bit about that awesome night you had out at Meeker, man. You got a heat race win and went out there and got yourself a feature win, man. Take me through the night, man. Was the car fast from the time you unloaded it? Was it just one of those deals where you knew as soon as hot laps were over you had a contending hot rod, or did you have to chase the car in the track all night long?
Oh, actually, in the first heat, we had a little stumble in the motor. The motor was brand new as well. And old Rauschenberg kind of gave me a little run there in the first heat. And I knew if I made another mistake, he was going to get by me. So I just kind of, tried to keep it straight and keep it going. And we picked the win up in that heat race. And then, when it come feature time, we knew what we needed to do. So the car kind of straightened itself out a little bit. And we got the stumble out of it. And we got lucky enough to get the win, so.
Well, I got to tell you, in that first heat race there, from the drop of from the initial green flag until that caution had come out, man, you was checking out on them boys. I mean, you were out there by at least a good country mile, as we'd call it as an industry term there, I guess. But yeah, when that caution came out, like you had mentioned, Rauschenberg really kept you on your toes there for the rest of the race, but you came away with that, man. You during that feature, you looked really good, man. How many wins is it now this year? Is that number 7 or 8?
That's number 7 right there for the year.
Let's talk a little bit about this Sooner mod, this sports mod deal, man. This gets presented to you guys in the off season. What were your initial thoughts about jumping on board with a touring series?
Oh, anything in Oklahoma is going to, be tough to get going, but I think there's enough cars around that, if you get the cars there, it's going to work, especially up, in Enid and that area. There's a lot of cars up there. So we get it further south down here, towards maybe Ardmore next year, maybe, and get some of these other tracks on. It's going to be a big deal.
Now, we had John Summers on last week, and I'm sure you're familiar with him. He races down in the southern part of the state as well. And he says you get down there towards like Lawton and Ardmore, he said the competition in the Sportmods classes down there, even on their own Friday night racetracks without the Sooner Series, is about as fierce as it comes. Is that something you agree with?
Yeah. I mean, them two tracks right there are good. Ardmore's got some stiff competition, but, you go up in the other part of the state, too, and you take any of them guys that run down there and take them up to Longdale, Oklahoma, and, see how they run up there. So there's good racing across the state no matter what. Wherever you go, there's going to be tough guys.
Now, you pull into a racetrack, and you're sitting here, and you're scoping out your competition, and you see that hauler coming down pit road, and as soon as you see it, you know exactly who it is, and you're thinking, that's the guy to beat. Who is that down there for you?
Oh, I mean, anywhere in the state, if you show up and Robert Elliott pulls in the pits, you got a handful. So probably Robert Elliott's probably the man to beat right now.
Growing up, being a fan of dirt racing, was this something that was in your family from your childhood, or was this something that you were introduced to later on in life?
Oh, yeah, I went to my first dirt track race when I was about 2 weeks old. I grew up watching my dad race, and he got out of it about the time I was able to start driving. And when I went out, and I think this is about my 6th year, so 6 years ago, I decided to try to get a car together and started racing from there.
Do you remember that first time you ever strapped into a race car? You remember what you were driving, where you were at?
Yeah, I do. I was actually driving a Sportmod at Clinton, Oklahoma, and we actually didn't do too bad for my first time out.
So definitely born into your blood is a lot of families all rich in the tradition of grassroots racing, dirt track racing. It's definitely a family thing, and it's good to see it get passed on from generation to generation because that's what keeps the sport alive.
Yeah, sure is. I grew up, like I said, watching my dad, and now he's there. He comes to the house. He helps me get the car ready at the track. I have to tell him sometimes, you need to slow down, Dad. You need to slow down. You're working too hard, but he's constantly running around that car making sure it's ready to go, just like I was for him back whenever I was younger. So it's good to have family and, friends there to race.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had a similar instance with my two uncles that always did the same thing. It was one would help the other, and the other would help the other, and they would spend more time helping the other out and not paying attention to their own program. But that's just the way it is sometimes. Man, if you sit and you think about the last 6 years that you've been racing so far, is there that one wow moment that really sticks out? A championship, a win, just a great door-to-door battle. What's the moment that sticks out in your mind the most from the past 6 seasons that you spent racing?
2 seasons ago, I ran points at Longdale, and I actually won an A feature that year. And if you win an A feature at Longdale, Oklahoma, you're doing something. So that memory probably sticks out for me, because you got drivers like Brandon Kinney and, Mike Roach and Robert Elliott. And, there's about 10 drivers at Longdale any night that could win. So that night I won at Longdale is probably the most, memorable moment for me.
Let's talk about your driving style a little bit. Are you a guy that prefers a heavy track to a slick track? Do you like hanging it out on the high side? Are you a catfish on the bottom? Or are you just a guy that really has gotten good at adapting and running wherever the track suits you in your car?
I like a slick racetrack. In Oklahoma, normally the tracks we run on are slick. I feel like a slick racetrack, takes the motor out of it. There's a lot of, you got to be able to drive the car on a slick racetrack, whether it be up on top, maybe there's still a caution or a cushion there up on top so you can run the cushion, or you're down on the tires and you're pedaling the car. So I like, a slick racetrack's what I like.
Hey, Larry, do you have anything you want to ask Jared while you're on the show with us tonight, bud?
Gosh, you put me on the spot there and I wasn't ready. Gosh, that's tough. And I've been out at Meeker. I've been lucky enough this year to be doing some work in the pits for them out there at Red Dirt Raceway, and it's always good to see the B4 pull in there. Jared, as he mentioned, has had some great success there. Is it track as part of it, Jared, or is it? I mean, I'm not questioning your driving skill, obviously, but
for my success at Meeker this year.
Yes, sir.
I mean, a lot of it is I feel like that my equipment is on its A game this year, and I feel like that my car is working extremely well on that little track, so I think that's part of it. I'm finally getting the hang of the car.
That's a good question for you there. Obviously, a much different track than what it was when it was Brill Motor Speedway. Out of the two setups, is there one that you like better as far as the...
a different animal, but I like the track.
Joining conference now. This conference is being recorded by the organizer.
I feel people that are on Facebook saying that the track isn't racy, I say that statement's false. I feel like the track is very racy.
Yeah, and you see, I'm a Midwestern guy, and up there, around Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, I mean, you have short tracks galore, little bull rings, little eighth miles, little fifth miles, quarter miles, and I've always said that, I would rather watch a good show on a nice, wide-open quarter-mile track. I mean, the field's not getting all spread out, I mean, the racing is better. You got 2-3 lines of good racing usually on a track that small. I mean, I always thought quarter-mile tracks put on some of the best racing. And as far as, from a fan standpoint, they're getting to see a good show. And from a driver standpoint, it's not so hard on the pocketbook. You're not, leaning on your equipment as much and using your stuff up.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not that hard on the pocketbook unless it's hammered down like it was last weekend. Any track, when it's hammered down like that, it's going to be tough on equipment, but that's just the gamble you're in. So,
well, man, you made a jump in the points this week. I believe you're up to 7th in points now. Man, what is the goal for this season? I mean, you've been ripping off wins left and right. You got a championship in mind? You just going for as many wins as you can get? I mean, what's left for 2017?
We're actually getting ready to go to the 10,000 win. Been trying to prep ourselves for that because, there's going to be 200 drivers down there of the best, and that's what we've been trying to prep ourselves for, is that race down there. As far as the series deal goes, is at the first of the year, I wasn't really planning on running for points anywhere, and, it always comes down to the end. If you're doing good,
Are you still there, or did we lose you? I think we might have lost. I think we lost Jared. Oh, well, the weather, like I had mentioned,
says he's still connected.
The show, folks. Some of the weather moving through the Oklahoma City area is severe, and he may have gotten cut off from some weather-related issues, or who knows? He might have just thought that this sucked and he hung up on us. Who knows?
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you, Larry.
Oh, no, this is Richie.
Oh, I hear you.
Okay, you lost him for a second. He must have popped out.
Yeah, we were just talking about some of the weather issues that we are having down here in Oklahoma City. But thank you, Jared Baird, for calling in and hanging out with us for a little while. Again, congratulations on your win last weekend down at the Red Dirt Raceway in Meeker, picking up a heat race win and a feature win, having himself a solid weekend, moving up inside the top 10 in the points. And, man, 7 wins this year so far, Larry. I'd say he's got it figured out, bud. What do you think?
He definitely does. He definitely does. I'm telling you.
Looks like he's back in.
Hello. Are you back with us? Are you back with us, Jared?
Yeah, kind of lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, that's understandable with some of the weather that's coming through in the Oklahoma City area right now, and down in your neck of the woods. It's to be expected. we expected to encounter some weather problems either on our end here in Oklahoma or on Richie's end up there in upstate New York, as we're both dealing with severe weather right now. But thanks for coming back in, man.
Yeah, no problem.
So we were talking about your plans for 2017. Let's talk about what beyond 2017. Are you looking to move up next year? Are you going to stay in a sport mod? What's on the docket for 2018?
No, I'll probably stay in a sport mod. I don't really feel like a sport mod is necessarily a class below, necessarily like a modified or anything. I think a sport mod right now has some of the best drivers, around in it. I know several guys that run modifieds and have moved back to sport mods, so I'll probably just stay right in the sport mod class, because you can go anywhere you want to and you can run your car.
Yeah, and that's something I know a lot of drivers are looking at nowadays, with the cost of racing being what it is just to keep up with the Joneses. I mean, if you can have a class where you're not spending quite as much money and you're getting a better product out of it, I mean, it's pretty much a no-brainer for anybody that wants to go out and truly race. They're going to go with where the racing's at. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's correct,
Well, man, let's talk a little bit about the people that help you keep going up and down the road and keep that car going around the racetrack, man. Let's throw out those sponsors a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'd like to thank my wife. Without her, help with the kids and, just saying that I can even go racing. So without my wife, I couldn't do it without her, and then my mom and my dad, Dad helps me with the car like y'all wouldn't believe. So, and Mom's always there, she taking pictures or videoing or, she's just there taking care of the kids. And then I'd like to thank the Neals. They've helped me out a lot this year. In the years prior, we've struggled with sponsorship, and whenever I moved back down to this neck of the woods, I've met some people, and they've been there to help me, and it's been nice. So, and then I'd like to thank the Campbells. There's some other people I've met that kind of helped with the car, and then Ramirez Race Cars, Brandon Kinney, and Cole Trugett. I mean, I'm sure y'all all know who them people are, and if you want a fast race car, you need to give them a phone call, because right now their cars are going in circles.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, Cole Trugett is fast. That LG2 that he's got, man, that's every time I've been to a track and he's been there to race, that kid's a wheel, man. He can go out there and he can get it done.
He sure is. One last person would be WCH, with my power plant. He's done me a solid this year and got us some good motors. Without all that stuff, it wouldn't go around.
Absolutely, without those sponsors, man, it would be tough this day for anybody to go out there and have a good time in the sport of racing without those people that help keep that operation going. So definitely thanks to those guys. And man, are we going to see you at Ada next weekend?
We'll see. We'll see.
Keeping the options open, huh?
I actually have to work Saturday morning, so we'll see how it goes. I'll have to change the transmissions and stuff, but we'll see what happens.
Right on. Well, Jared, Steve, is there anything you got for Jared before we get off of here with him, bud?
Hey, I want to tell you congratulations again. You did a good job, and I really do appreciate you coming out there last weekend.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Hey, one more thing before we get out of here. What did you think of that cool trophy that Gorham Athletics provided for that win last week?
It's pretty cool. I liked it. You know, it can go up on the wall, and I liked it.
Yeah, Steve showed me a picture of that, I think, Saturday morning or Friday morning. I was like, man, I think that might be one of the coolest trophies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Jared, again,
I got one more sponsor that I actually forgot to say, and he's part of the Neals. That's why I didn't say it, but it's Sea Bass Racing. That's the one that's up on the sail panel of the car, man. He's helped me about as much as my dad has this year, so I didn't want to forget him, but he's been to every race, and his daughter actually does some videos and some in-car videos, and they've been some good friends, so I wanted to say thanks to them too.
Hey, yeah, definitely. It sounds like he's contributed a lot to your success this year, and everybody that contributes in any kind of aspect on a racing team, it's been success, man. It takes everybody to make it happen. So, man, again, congratulations on your win. Congratulations on the success in 2018, and hopefully you can close it out here in the home stretch and pick off a couple of more wins before the year's over with, man.
All right, thank you guys for having me on.
All right, not a problem. Thank you.
Bye.
That was Norman, Oklahoma's Jared Baird, winner last weekend out at the Red Dirt Raceway in Meeker, Oklahoma, stopping by and talking a little bit about his success so far in 2017, talking about his win last weekend as he went out and picked himself up a heat race win and a feature win out at the Sportmods Showdown at the Red Dirt Race. Next weekend, Ada is going to be the place to be. Sooner Sportmods Series going down there for the first time in its young series history, I might add. And, man, can't wait to see what happens down there. Going to be a good show, I think, Steve. Anytime you go to a new track for the very first time, for a promoter, does that make you nervous? I mean, you've had enough races under your belt this year. I would imagine it's getting easier, but going to a track for the first time, is it a little bit of extra added pressure on all fronts?
It's a lot of extra pressure. You always want to make sure you got a good car count for the track. You sit there and promise them, hey, I want to bring this series to you, and I want to bring some cars. It's going to help. I'm going to help you guys out, and we'll have a good show for you. But even that last weekend, I'm not going to lie to you. We had a lot of the cars didn't show up till the last minute, and probably the first up to about 6:15 or so. They didn't have. We only had 3 or 4 cars showed up, and all of a sudden everybody shows up at once. So I was really nervous about that. And just like Jared said earlier, everybody's a little nervous about that track. But man, that track is fast. Cody's done a really good job. I really like what he did, and I really appreciate it. I keep on thanking him. Ruttons is out there. Hats off to Cody for doing everything he's done out there. But yeah, next weekend, guys, got to get up there at Ada. It's going to be a fast track. It's going to be lots of fun. I think they even got some vintage cars coming out there next weekend too. So it'll be a pretty good show for everybody.
Good deal. It's definitely exciting, and I can't wait to see the results and see some of the video that comes out of next weekend down at Ada. Is that stop number 5 or 6 on the year, Steve?
5.
5. Again, we got to pay a big thank you to the sponsors that help make the Sportmods series a success and make it what it is. FB Designs, Knockout Graphics, Steve's Auto and Machine, Go Form Athletics, and High Tech Tactical. And don't forget about the AR-15, $10 a ticket. High Tech Tactical is sponsoring an AR-15 raffle, and I think second or third week of October is when they're going to announce the winner on that. So get a hold of Stevie. His contact information, you can find that anywhere on the Sooner Sports Mods page, or I'm sure his phone number's on there. Pretty much his whole life has become the internet in the last couple of months. Is that a pretty fair assessment there, Steve?
Yeah, you can't hide from anybody.
And again, thank you to the guys that provide our pictures and our video. Gary Pitt Images, Mike Howard, you can find him on Facebook. David Stukins, you can find him on Facebook or on Smug Hug. Pete Laughlin over at Okie Dirt Videos, providing some of the video that you've been seeing. Couldn't make a show without you guys, and it's good to see people out there supporting their favorite sport in any way, shape, or form. And I can tell you firsthand that being a photographer or a videographer at the races is not only hard on the person, but it's doubly hard on the equipment. I mean, all the dust in your optics and in your camera and things like that. It's expensive for those guys. So be sure and support them and buy a picture or two, man. Those guys are out there working hard.
They get some amazing pictures too. Some great shots.
Oh yeah, I've been looking at some of the pictures that Jared had sent us, and some really good shots. And some of these guys, it takes a lot of talent and a lot of time to harness that talent for them to get out there and dial those cameras in. Sometimes it can be almost as hard as dialing in a race car, but you know what? They're good at what they do. Well, we are supposed to have last week's late model winner on with us. He had him a good weekend. He picked up a third place finish Friday night, and Saturday night picked up the win. Mark, you with us, bud? Hey,
hello,
man.
Mark. Hello,
what a weekend. What a weekend, man. Thanks for being on the show with us, man. Third place Friday night, and you pretty much you spanked them boys Saturday night there. Let's talk about the success of this weekend, man, and talk us through that win.
We just had a good car. We had a good car all weekend. We put the car into the fence in Caney, Kansas 2 weekends ago in an MLR race and tore it up, and we put it back together, and we did something right because it's running good.
Oh, you're understating it by a little bit, Mark. That thing is on a rail.
Well, that's what they tell me, but I don't have any rear view mirrors. All I can do is look ahead.
You had some good competition there Saturday night there at Ada too. I don't know. I know you can't see behind you, but they were battling it out really heavy all the way back to about 5th, 6th place. It was pretty much anybody's race for a long time there, other than out front, because there was only one guy out front.
Yeah, there's the quality of cars is getting better in the series, and that's good for all of us. I'm seeing cars come. We had cars from Missouri there last Saturday night. We had cars from Texas. We got cars from Oklahoma. It's looking good. Mark Brill's done a real good job with this series, and Jay Sales.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you about what you thought about the competition a little, because it seemed to me like that we have some darn good drivers in this series, and we've got guys that are we've got some older guys and we've got some younger guys, and now we've got our first lady in the series, so we've got a little bit of everything.
We do at that.
I assume you would say that any week that you come to the track, you know you're going to have your work cut out for you.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's no cakewalk. It can be pretty tough at times.
Well, you seem to have figured it out, because besides this win Saturday night and the third place Friday night, you went home with the big trophy last year at the end of the season, the championship.
Yeah, we had a pretty good year. I feel like most runs in our consistency is done in the shop. We spend a lot of time preparation and make sure the car doesn't fall apart. And there's some things you can't control, but we work real hard on the cars at the shop, and I feel like that's the place where the races are won, at the shop. We don't go to the track to work the car. We go there to race them.
That's something my dad always told me. He said, "Son, I didn't come out here to work on the car.
I don't want to work on it there either."
Yep. Yeah, that's what, all of the guys that are really, really successful, that is what they say the secret is you got to do the work in the shop. You can't take the car home and just drag it back to the track next weekend, because you're not going to be successful. It's not going to work for you.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. We do have good equipment, though. We have a new rocket, and we have half-filled racing engines, and when we got into this deal, we bought Terry Johnson's car 2 years ago and kind of fell into this deal, and we've upped it since then, and fortunately there's 3 of us that are the cars we have, otherwise we couldn't afford to do it.
Now, Mark, you talk about your schedule and how much dedication it takes, and I completely agree with the statement that all races are won in the shop, but not only are you running this late model deal, but you run in the Sportmods side of things too. I mean, how hard is that on you to have a multi-car operation that I could see it being a little easier if it was the same class, but having a late model and a sport mod? I mean, how hard is it to juggle the two of those?
It's pretty tough. We have two sport mods, and we have one late model. We took a sport mod to Ada with a brand new motor, and we lost that motor down there, so we're kind of disappointed with that deal. We came from sport mod. In fact, I didn't race. Quit racing about '98, and kept asking me to come to the track, and I got back involved in 2011, I believe. I started driving again, and we just kind of started climbing the ladder there. In 2013, we won the NCRA championship with the sport mod, and kind of got drugged back into it. I tried to get away from it, but it's like a drug.
Yeah, it is. It's a bad one. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Do you mind going over a little bit of your history? Have you been racing, and what have you raced?
I started out in the late 80s running at Enid Speedway. Enid was always a home track, and Dad took me up there as a kid. And I started running enduro races, and I won 2 out of 3, them 200 lappers, and I ended up with a IM5 when they first come into Oklahoma, and we ended up winning the championship at Enid in 1993, I believe, or 91. I'm getting old. I can't remember these things. But, and we run a late model. We ended up getting into pavement racing for a while and run a late model in a pavement car down at Dallas at the Sooner Speedway. Tried to do a little bit of TIDA. I don't know if you guys remember that, Texas International Driver Association, and we had a little bit of success, but then I drove for quite a few years for other people. I drove for Bryce Olson. He ran a pro stock team out. We raced at State Fair Speedway. And then I drove for, I'm trying to think of them guys' name. They always ran Dodges. I ran for them for a couple of years, and then I kind of got out. I stuck about 10 years in it. I was just kind of burned out.
Right.
It takes much time. If you don't commit to it, you're not going to get the result.
Yes. Absolutely correct.
You talk about growing up at Enid and kind of having the racing bug inserted into you at Enid. Whenever you found out that Mark and Kip were going to turn the lights back on at Enid this year, man, was you excited to get back out there and race? I mean, how was it to receive that kind of news that your childhood, favorite track was going to be back up and running again for 2017?
Well, actually, we were real excited because we won the Winter Nationals there, the last race they had there, and we were excited about that. And I'd had that slip out of my hands a few times over the years. I almost had it won and lost it. So we won that, and then they closed the track down. And then they opened it back up, and then we won the first race back there with the late model, which was pretty exciting. So that's our home track, and that's a very good racetrack. And I've seen a lot of promoters come and go, and that's just home for us.
Now, you've got a long history and a huge resume when it comes to racing, and I had asked Jared the same question. I'm going to ask you. When you sit and you think back over all the years and all the different forms of motorsports that you've been associated with and all the different cars that you drove, what's that one wow moment that sticks out in your mind?
Wow, that's pretty hard to say. Late model's pretty impressive. I've always wanted to drive one, and I just never thought I would be in the situation I am now. I wish I could do this about 25 years ago. I was a lot younger and a lot fresher, but hey, we're not doing too bad.
Not bad at all.
Not for winning a championship last year and being within striking distance of doing it again this year. I'd say you're not doing too bad at all there, buddy.
You got what, 3 this year so far?
Yeah, we've had 3. Then we've
Yeah.
had a second and a third. We've done pretty good. I put a lot of time into exercise. I exercise and I try to eat right. I had open heart surgery 2 years ago, believe it or not. So,
Wow.
I didn't have a heart attack.
Now, for having open heart surgery, is that something that kind of gives you some comfort issues in the race car from the G-forces or from the belts being pulled so tight over your shoulders? Because I know I have a broken sternum, and anytime I'm wearing a harness, man, all that pressure on my chest, I almost can't stand it. What's that like for someone that's had open heart surgery?
I'm very physical, very active. I work out, at least try to work out 5 days a week. I never had a heart attack. I went and got a CT scan, and that's pretty well what saved my life. I had a very high score, and we knew we had some blockage. And I passed all the tests, and we finally did an arteriogram, and they found that I had a blockage in my, what they call a widowmaker. So I had to have open heart surgery. I walked in and I walked out.
Wow.
So I highly recommend you get a CT scan for $75. It saved my life.
Absolutely. Wow, that's one of those deals where we never like to go to the doctor. We always joke with our wives or our girlfriends that I have to be dying or in a coma to go to the doctor, but sometimes, it is the best thing to do.
Well, I met this beautiful lady about that time, and she kind of walked me through it all. If it wouldn't have been for her, I probably would have had a tough time, but I would just recommend you go get checked. Steve Smith, I've known him for years, and if Steve would have went and got a CT scan, he would still be here today. And I'm very fortunate. I thought a lot of Steve Smith.
I'm not familiar with Steve as I'm new to Oklahoma, but you speak highly of him, as I'm sure he was a well-respected individual. And
very much so. Very much so.
Larry knows him real well. He had a heart attack over there at Red Dirt Speedway this year and didn't make it. And he was younger than me.
Yep. Yes, I remember hearing about that. Yes, I do remember hearing about that now. Yep. Well, let's talk about what's left for 2017. You're sixth place in the late model points. Are you going for another championship? What's left for 2017 for you?
Well, we're still gonna run some more sooner late model races, as many as we can, but we're gonna venture over into MLRA and Mars Country and do a little bit of racing with a little bit better competition and see how we stack up. We've run in the top. We run sixth the last time we ran with them and didn't have an incident. So we just find out how good we really are. I've always felt like you have to run with the best cars there is to get better. So I'm saying that's absolutely right. Sooner, but I'm very tickled with Sooner and what's going on there. But we just feel like we need to go chase some bigger things.
So
we'll be back sooner.
Let's say the rest of this season you spend out there chasing that down. You have some success. Is that going to dictate what you guys put together for your 2018 program?
Mm-hmm.
Really not sure on anything about that. It's getting hard to get out of bed in the morning. I was thinking about slowing down.
Oh, my goodness.
But well, man, I find these guys that are older than me beating on me, so.
Man, you had talked about a little bit about blowing that new motor in the Sportmods at Ada last weekend. Is that going to put a damper on the rest of your Sportmod plans for the year, or are you guys going to be able to put something? I know you said you had another one. Are you going to run the Sportmods anymore? Or are you going to kind of hang that up for the year?
No, we'll run the Sportmods some. We have another complete car. We have two complete cars. We will definitely run that, and I will fix the other one. It's kind of a challenge. When it breaks, I want to know why, and I want to fix it, but sometimes the money dictates that, as you all know how that works.
Oh, yeah.
So, that Sport Mod deal has become really tough. There's some really good cars, and Jared's one of them. Jared's running real well. I've raced with Jared, and I listened to you talk to him, and Jared's a good racer, and Jared's earned his way. He's fought and struggled and tore a lot of stuff up. I've watched him, so he's doing real good this year, and I'm glad that I know him.
Yeah, picking up 7 wins for anybody in any series is definitely going to be a successful season. Yeah, he's I don't know what they figured out over there, but I think we're going to contribute it to a lucky horseshoe. Isn't that right, Larry?
That's right. I think he's got that horseshoe somewhere in that car. I just haven't found it yet.
Well, hey, man, talk to us a little bit about this Sooner Sportmods series. You know, this thing started up with you, and with you winning a championship in the late models last year. Was it something you was excited about? And what's been your impression of it so far?
I've been very impressed with it. I'm kind of a little bit disappointed we didn't have more cars at Meeker, but we have a lot of cars. I'm excited about it. If he could get
that was kind of a busy weekend for Sportmods. There was a lot of stuff going on in different areas, and I think that contributed to it a little bit.
Definitely. A lot of people had plans for Saturday night, and it was moved to Saturday night from Friday, so that I felt like that hurt it, but kind of the way it worked out.
Yeah, we can't control Mother Nature for sure.
No, we've actually had a lot of rainouts. A lot of rainouts this year.
A lot of rainouts. So, Enid being your home track, I assume we'll see you at Enid on the 9th?
Yes, sir. I'll have both cars there. We'll have both cars.
Go.
Well, Mark, before we let you get out of here, buddy, let's thank those sponsors that help you keep going up and down the road and keep that car turning to the left.
You read my mind.
Okay, we have Glenn Westernberg with Westernberg Applicators. He's a car owner. And then we have Dale, 81 Electric, Dale Lewis. He's a car owner. And then I'm a car owner. We all own parts. And we picked up a pretty big sponsor this year, Bravado Wireless, out of eastern Oklahoma. And Hatfield Racing Engines helped us a little bit. Rocket helps us a little bit. And just a lot of people over the years have helped me get where I'm at. A few of them being Buster Hope's, Poor Farms, Wilms Farms. Picked up a new guy that's helped with the tires this year. His name's Michael Henry, and he's really helped our team. And, you know, this racing it's not about the driver. It's about all the people. I'm just part of it, and I can't do it without all these people. It's a team effort. If it wasn't for them guys,
Mark,
I couldn't be.
Oh, absolutely. If it wasn't for the guys behind the scenes, I mean, nobody can do it all on their own. It's a lot of work going into a race car, and especially with somebody who's got an operation like yours. I mean, man, that's 2 and 3 extra full-time jobs for you. So, man, hats off to you guys for your commitment, your dedication to keeping some quality programs out there in Oklahoma. It's good to see people having that kind of drive and that determination and that passion for the sport to keep doing it at the level that you're doing it.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you guys for putting something like this on the air, and we need more of that. We need to try to make the sport grow, and you know, our kids struggling. The racetracks are dwindling, and it's just hard times for me on dirt track racing because I've been watching it since the '70s, since I was a kid, and it's going through some tough times, but surely it'll make it.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I think my very first race, I was probably 5 years old, would have been about 1982 in Central Illinois. And to think back to what we had 20, 30 years ago and to see the sport struggling the way it is now, it breaks your heart. I know a lot of people out there share that same sentiment. So we're doing our best to keep the sport thriving, and there are other shows out there that are doing the same thing. And man, we want to thank you very much for hanging out with us for a little bit tonight and talking racing here with the Sooner Late Models and the Sooner Sport Mods. And again, congratulations on a very successful weekend and picking up that win Saturday night. And we hope to have you back sometime.
Hey, Mark, I want to say something as well. You know, I know you do a lot of work out there. You know, last time we raced over in Enid, you were basically on your motorcycle running back and forth trying to keep up with everything. I appreciate all your support.
Well, I appreciate you guys putting all the effort into it. You know, it's not about it's about everybody, even the track and all the guys. And think about all the people that come to the track and work for nothing. They do it just to be part of it. And I think we can. And if it wasn't for them, none of us could do this. So there's a lot of people out there that need to be recognized in this business.
Absolutely. Well, man, thank you for hanging out with us. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Larry.
I just wanted to say thanks, Mark, for coming on. I didn't give you a lot of advance notice, and you came right in for me, and you did a really good job, and I appreciate it very much. And I'll see you at Enid.
Looking forward to see you guys. And awesome show. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is Mark Harrison, your defending Sooner late models champion, sitting sixth in points right now, picking up a win Saturday night down there in Ada. Had himself a really good weekend. You can see him and the Sooner Modified Series. I believe it's going to be September 9th. They will both be at the Enid Motor Speedway along with the Sooner Sportmods. And get out there and check out Enid Speedway before the end of the year. Check out all the Sportmod series out there, out at the legendary Enid Motor Speedway. I definitely plan on making a trip back out there. But, man, it's Larry, it's good to hear these guys that, you know, when we talk to them, and they always contribute their success a lot to just the foundation with dirt racing in Oklahoma. I think every guest we've had on so far has come right out and said, you know, without the help and support of the people within the family, you know, they couldn't do what they do.
No, well, that's absolutely true, and it's true of every deal. I mean, I was going to mention the Sooner Late Model Series have been really lucky. We don't have a lot of paid employees. In fact, I don't think we have any paid employees. All the people that work with the Sooner Late Model Series do so on a voluntary basis, and we've been really lucky to get some good help come out and help us, and some great response from the fans and from the drivers and just the tracks. It's just been a great deal, and I think everybody's, you know, on board on the same idea, which is, you know, trying to keep the thing going and help support racing as much as we can, keep it alive.
You know, it's the thing that you did bring up, because we don't have very much help at all, and you know, a lot of my guys are volunteers as well. You know, Larry, you've helped me a lot. Your daughter Hannah's helped me, you know, a lot. It's been a really good help to have you guys on board. Jim Colop and Aaron White, they've been really helpful. The teching, you know, that's a lot. Last weekend I was by myself mostly, just running back and forth, trying to take care of everything, trying to run lineups. That was a big hand. There was a lot of stuff on my plate. My wife, man, I can't thank my wife enough. You know, she does a lot of my paperwork, and she's helped me a lot. So without everybody's help, I couldn't be where I'm at right now with this series.
Absolutely. And family, you just mentioned one of the biggest things I think it is in racing, family. I mean, it's a family deal. You see these guys come out to the track, they bring their family with them, they introduce their kids to the sport, the kids fall in love with it, they get in it. I believe all three of us are second, third generation racing people, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, you know, I mean, we know what we're talking about, and you've seen, as you mentioned, my daughter come out to the track, and she's hooked, as you know, and she's been a lot of help to me. I really missed her this last couple of weeks. She'd gone off to college, and I want to give a shout out to Hannah. Hi, Hannah. And just, you know, family is such a big part of it. And it's cool to see it all. It's cool to see it go from generation to generation, and everybody try to keep it going.
Yeah, my son, he's I kind of keep him busy running the lineups back and forth from the press box down to the pits, and I keep him a little busy as well.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask Larry, how is Hannah adapting to college life?
I won't embarrass her by telling you that I will. I already did. She had a rough first day, but her first week has been really good. She's adjusting really well, and she likes it there, and we think she's going to do really well up at OKWU, Oklahoma Wesleyan University, up there in Bartlesville. Give a shout-out to them. And hopefully Dad will get to go watch her play some basketball some more.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, congratulations, Hannah. I know Dad's proud of you. I've always seen you out at the racetrack helping out, and thank you for that. And good luck with your collegiate career, and I hope everything works out very, very well for you. Well, hey, man, it's been a pretty decent show. Again, we need to thank all the people for making this possible, the pictures and video that you've been seeing throughout this show, images provided by Gary Pig at Images, Mike Howard, David Stukins, and Pete Laughlin over at Okie Dirt Videos. Be sure to check and support those guys out for their efforts in helping to keep dirt track racing alive and well here in the Sooner State. Have to thank FD Designs, Knockout Graphics, Steve's Auto and Machine, Go Form Athletics, and High Tech Tactical. Don't forget about the AR-15 that High Tech has donated to the Sportmods series, and I believe you've got until about the second week of October. What is that, Steve? The 22nd? Is that correct?
October 22nd is the date for that.
October 22nd. We will be pulling out one lucky winner of that AR-15, $10 a raffle ticket. Just get a hold of Steve. All the information you need and his contact information can be found at the Sooner Sport Mod Series Facebook page. And don't forget to inquire about some Sport Mod T-shirts. Got all different kinds of colors, different sizes that fit your own personal taste. So be sure to inquire about that as well. Hey, Larry, what's on the docket for you this weekend? I know Steve's going to be down in Ada with the Sport Mods. What do you got going on, bud?
Well, I got a text message earlier this evening wanting to know what I was going to be doing Saturday, so something tells me I'll be down in Ada helping out with the Sooner Sport Mod Series.
Uh-oh. I think Steve might have something to do with that. You heard it here first, buddy.
I got to work my regular job that day, but when I get off, I'm headed to Ada.
Yeah, be sure.
We're racing addicts. When we're not racing, we're working at racing or going to watch racing, or
Yeah.
Yeah, be sure to make it down to Ada this week. Check out all the action with the Sooner Sport Mod series as they get set to invade Ada Speedway for the first time this year. So it'll be interesting to see how things stack up and shake out at the end of the night down there. And I'm going to try to make it down there, so hopefully the three of us can get together when it's all said and done and have a beer, talk racing, and get ready for
maybe trouble about three of us.
Yeah, again, thank you to Jared Baird, and congratulations on a feature win last weekend at Meeker, and thank you to Mark Harrison for coming on, and congratulations on picking up a feature win as well to you Saturday night. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. We're going to have a couple of weeks off, but no, actually we're not. You guys are racing next week. We just got done talking about that. So we will have a show next Tuesday. And don't forget September 9th, the next race for the late models, modifieds, and sport mods out at Enid Motor Speedway. I know all three of us will definitely be at that race for sure.
Absolutely.
And, I want to thank you, Larry, for hanging out with me on such short notice. Great job, as always. People got to hear it this time, and man, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to come back next week if you like. I think you make a great addition to the show.
Not a problem. If I have an opportunity in the opening, I'll definitely do it.
Mark, I'm sorry. I just called you Mark. Steve, any closing thoughts before we turn things back over to Richie?
Well, one more thing I want to do. I want to give my daughter a shout-out herself. She's actually just started her first week of college as well. So, Sarah, I'm proud of you.
Awesome. Couple of proud Papa moments. I know in about 16 years from now, I'll get to experience that myself, but we're just in kindergarten. I'm not in that big of a hurry for her to grow up because she's growing up way too fast as it is.
It happens way too fast.
Yeah. It went from crawling to walking to steps to now it's going by way too fast. But again, folks, thank you for listening in to tonight's special tribute show to Ray Galusha, and I think Richie has got some information on how you can support Ray. And Ray's a longtime racer, longtime friend of the station here, and Ray's battling the biggest opponent of all. As he's trying to win his fight with stage 4 cancer. And Richie, tell us a little bit about how we can help Ray and what Ray's meant to you.
Well, Ray is one of my coworkers. I work with him every day at Malta Asphalt Lawn Care and Landscaping. And I also know Ray through the fire department. He's a volunteer firefighter for 25 plus years. right now a current firefighter in Galway, New York. And he's, as you said, a past racer. He raced the a 6-cylinder class, which is down your guys' way considered the mini stock or cruiser class. There's a couple of different variations of the class itself. But he raced a 6-cylinder Beretta and took 2008 championship over at Albany-Saratoga Raceway. But yeah, as you were saying, he's fighting lung and liver cancer as we speak in Saratoga Hospital. He's getting some rounds of chemotherapy. And hopefully in a few days we find out if the chemotherapy is actually working and bettering the liver and lungs. I spoke with his son this evening. I tried to get a call into Ray, and we played a little phone tag, but by the time the afternoon dwindled out, he was just a little too not feeling well to have a conversation, which is totally fine. I'm sure we'll get to talk to him at some point. We were as a crew at shop trying to give him a buzz just to bust his buns and pick on him for slacking. But yes, we have a GoFundMe page that his son Matt and daughter-in-law Chrissy has set up. Support Papa Ray's cancer battle. And if you can get on there, the link is posted within the video. The link is also shared, I believe, in the comments there. And if you are looking for the link or whatnot, you can contact me or even email the Sooners page or whatnot. We'll get that link on out to you to support. And no donation is any too big or small, but due to the fact that he's in the hospital and out of work for a while, they're going to have some doctor bills coming up, and he's not going to have money coming in from work and whatnot. So, and for transportation for his wife to get back and forth from the hospital to home and family and such. So they're just trying to raise a little bit of money to try to help all those kind of things happen. And if you guys can support that, stop on over at the GoFundMe page, support Papa Ray's cancer battle, and donate what you can. Like I said, there's no donation too big or small. If you have if you have a way to donate and you don't want to go through the GoFundMe page, get in contact with me and we can go through his son Matt or his daughter-in-law Chrissy so that they can actually get in touch. We were supposed to have a video this evening, but I myself didn't get that part done. So I apologize, gentlemen. I apologize to Pete. I didn't get a chance to get it downloaded and set to roll. But what I can do is add that to our page in a subsequently way, so we can share Pete's video from this past weekend's race for those that you had missed it, or those of you who would like to see the race again. So, gentlemen, I apologize on that part. I forgot to grab that piece. As I was...
You're fired.
See? I know. I'm a mad engineer. I told you.
He kept us on the air for a whole show. I'm hiring him back.
Almost. You had about 2 minutes of non-audio there in the beginning. Forgot to add the audio input to the software for Facebook, and then
that was you. That was you talking, so I'm good with that.
And
yeah, that's right.
Great. Thank you. And then we had a little bit of a wire issue. I've got some hissing sound going on here that I was made aware of, so I'm trying to get that figured out. We do have a brand new board, should be in within the week. However, I will not attempt to try to install it during a couple of days of shows, so I'll make sure it's installed over a weekend of some sort, so that it's up, we're running, and in working order prior to any shows rolling, because I know I'm a mad engineer and I will mess something up. I am positive of that. But we'll get it all up and going. We got the new board coming. We got some new cables coming. We'll get those little kinks figured out and fixed. But and we had to make some changes here in the studio with the software and stuff. So we're running off a different computer for the phone system and things like that. So, but we're changing some things. We're getting things picked up and finally going. But yes, you guys were on air for the entire time, which was amazing.
Applause. a plus.
However,
with the weather that you've had in your area today, I'm honestly surprised that you didn't lose power.
I'm surprised.
Thank you to the weather gods.
Right. The storm came through pretty wavy. We are still under severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado watch until about midnight tonight. The severest up until 9 p.m., which is 9:15 here now. So I think we've gotten through the worst of it. We'll have to see what happens, and we'll probably get something worse over through. A little update here from Ray's son, who's actually tuned in watching to the show. He's doing all right. He's getting a little better each day. A little more natural color back, thank goodness, because last week I noticed he was quite jaundiced. His eyes were bright yellow from the liver, not producing the right proteins to get rid of the wastes in his body. So he had a rough go in the beginning, but hopefully they're getting some things going. He's getting out of bed and walking around a little bit more each time and slowly gaining his appetite back, so he's getting hungry. Good. Eat some yogurt. I want your honey bun. And possibly come this weekend, he will get to come home. So that's
good.
Great.
That's good to hear. I mean, we're talking within a week. And honestly, guys, I watched this whole thing kind of happen while we're working. One day, for about a week or so, he kept feeling some pain. He wasn't feeling good. I said, you got to get to the doctor. Didn't want to listen, so I had to get some backup. I got his son involved and said, get this boy to a doctor. He finally decided it was time. He went to the doctor, got checked out. They ran some tests, but they weren't quite sure, so he kind of played doctor tag for a little bit, bounced around, but he was progressively getting worse and quickly. It was something that really, the onset was really, really fast, and kind of scared the family, kind of scared, the coworkers, everybody that works with him, and I know the boss was really worried about him and everything, and so he ended up taking a few days off, going and getting the testing and stuff done and needed, and he come to work one last day there, and within an hour and a half, he was plush. He was bright yellow. His eyes were yellow. He was overheated rapidly, quickly dehydrated, and I mean, it was within moments. I do drive right back to shop. You're going home, man. You can't be here at this time. And
even Mark Harrison earlier this evening had contributed and attest to the fact that it's very important, man. Got to get those checkups. Stay in close contact with your doctor, especially the
I cannot believe he walked away from a haymaker.
Yeah, from a widowmaker?
A widowmaker. I have never, ever in my life, in my EMS career, met a man that has had a widowmaker heart attack. It's the worst of the worst. It's the biggest clot that you can get that stops all blood flow to your heart. And that's why they call it the widowmaker, because usually when you get the widowmaker, you drop dead instantly and there's no coming back. So
I think Larry, if I remember how he explained that, was he didn't actually get to the heart attack stage. I think they caught it just before, and the doctor had told him that you were well on your way to and very close to having what's called the widowmaker, and I think he was able to catch it in time.
Okay.
He got that CT scan and it saved his life.
That's the same thing that happened to my dad did too.
What's that, Steve?
That's the same thing that happened to my dad did this year. He had a quadruple bypass, and they found it with that CT scan, and I highly recommend that.
Yeah, Steve, I was going to ask about your dad. Didn't mean to cut you off there, Larry, but how's Steve doing? And for those of you that don't know, his dad is the owner of Steve's Auto and Machine, one of the sponsors for the Sooner Sportmods series. Man, how's the health with the old man? Is he back up and slinging wrenches in the garage with you?
Well, I mean, he's still up in the garage. I mean, nothing's going to stop him from being at the shop, but it's slowed him down. He's having some breathing problems right now. I'm really worried about him. He's hanging in there. I think that shop and that race car and that's keeping him going.
Yeah, sometimes it is, man. And hey, if that's what it takes, by all means, keep them racing as much as possible.
I've got a question. I've got a quick question for everybody, and I'm surprised the question didn't come up throughout the evening. But I want to know if all you fellas down there kept your race cars out of the sun yesterday during the total eclipse.
It's always inside.
Because it was the big. I don't think I've ever seen something in such an uproar as the total. I think I gotta say, not to get political or anything on the show, but I think the total eclipse beat out Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton's election.
Oh yeah,
I swear to God.
Absolutely.
One thing I'll say about the eclipse, not only was it really cool to see, I mean, the totality, seeing the solar flares and, the diamond ring effect when you were in complete totality was just really cool. I mean, even here, down here, I mean, people in Oklahoma got to see a really, really good eclipse. And, it was one of those things that for a few hours, nobody was talking politics. Nobody was talking, this and that. There wasn't a bunch of hate, BS being spewed out all over social media. I mean, for a couple of hours yesterday, everybody was, united on the same front and had an eye to the sky. And it was pretty cool in the hours after the eclipse had happened, seeing all the positive comments and all the cool pictures and everybody from all different walks of life saying how cool of a day it was and how it had affected and impacted their day in a positive way. So, I can take that out of the eclipse. We had one day where people just kind of forgot about all the crap that's going on and just kind of had something else to focus their energy on. And you know what? If we would just do that every single day toward a positive manner, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now.
Absolutely.
Well, Larry, thank you for joining us this evening, sir. Again, that offer for you to come back anytime is going to be extended, and I'm sure I'll be in touch with you about that very thing here throughout the week. And thank you for hanging out with us. Steve, again, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Richie, thank you for running the boards, manning the phones, and making the show run as smoothly as it can. Thank you to Jared Baird and Mark Harrison for coming on this evening. Thank you guys so much for short notice, especially Mark. He had about an hour and a half, 2 hour notice, and he was on, had a great time with him. Next weekend, the 26th, you can catch the Sportmods down at Ada for the first time this year, so be sure to make it down there to check them out for round number 6 of the 2017 season. Gates open at 5 o'clock. Races start at 7:30. $15 for adults, 11 to 15 seniors, $13. Kids 10 and under do get in for free. You can catch the Sooner late models and Sooner modified September 9th at Enid Motor Speedway. So be sure and get out there and check that out. And take a friend, bring a family member, a coworker, someone who's never been to a race, and go turn them on to something that they're going to be involved with for probably the rest of their lives. So, again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to the guests. Thank you guys for helping to make the show go as smoothly as it did. Boomer Sooner, good luck to Sooner Nation as we get ready to roll here in a couple weeks, and I smell another conference championship in 2017, even without Bob Stoops. I'm going to be the guy to go out on a limb and say, I think there's enough of senior coaching staff and players there that are going to keep Bob Stoops' playbook really, really well, tightly held to the heart. And I don't think Oklahoma's going to have any problems this year repeating this conference champion. So good luck to them. Good luck to everybody this weekend, wherever you go make some laps. And tune in next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, as we discuss what happens this weekend at Ado as the Sooner Sportmods series gets set to invade there for the first time this year. And everybody stay safe. Have a great week and even better weekend at the racetrack. And we'll see you next week right here on the Dirt Racing Network.
All right. Also, Roof, just before we close out, I just want to announce Super Dirt Week here in New York, sponsored by Napa Auto Parts, has issued its schedule, so get your tickets online. Napa Super Dirt Week will start October 4th to October 8th at Oswego Speedway, hoping that we, as Dirt Track Racing Network, will get a chance to get out there and see some real good racing for Super Dirt Week. It will be a first-time experience for us in the studio to get out to Oswego. So it's going to be a fun week of racing, I'm certain. And other than that, we'll see you all at the races. Myself this weekend, I have a weekend off. I've got some other engagements that I have to take care of, thanks to the wife. But other than that, we will see you the following weekend at Lebanon Valley and also at the Ridge. We got some good, great stuff coming up. We are filming a documentary series, Grassroots, the Heart of Dirt Track Racing. The name of the television show, to hopefully launch in September. We've had a couple of setbacks as of late this week. Nothing that we can control. Things that have happened at the tracks. So we've got to take a steer in a little bit of a different direction. But that is totally cool. We're going to roll with the flow. We're going to be able to figure things out. We've already got some new things set up for that to make it happen, and in hopes that we can get something set up for you. And we got some new stuff coming in, new cameras coming in, that we're going to be able to get some of the film that we need from the races, so that we can get those the documentary put together and out to you. I'm hoping it starts in September. I have not launched a specific date yet, so if we don't get it right off in September, maybe we can get it out for Super Dirt Weeks, a start in the first week of October. But until then, we will see you then. Thanks everybody for coming on. So thanks for listening, and tune in next Tuesday night, 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here live on the Dirt Track Racing Network. You can find us dtracingnetwork.com, on the TuneIn Radio app for Android. You can find us at Apple iTunes under WSPD Digital Broadcast, and also check us out right here on Facebook under Dirt Track Racing Network, WSPD Digital Broadcast Maverick Radio, and the Sooner Series, also on Facebook. And somebody is giggling.
Sorry, couldn't help it. Little girl came into the studio with something funny to say, and I kind of lost it.
Oh, all right, that works. We'll cut her a break. But
hey, and before we get out of here, just one more time, we're pulling for you, Ray. Good luck, buddy. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you, and you're going to be able to kick cancer's ass, brother.
And if you can, get on the GoFundMe page and give him a little bit, help him out, help him and his family out. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for allowing us to dedicate the show to them, to the Sooner Series, and thank you to the Galusha family for also allowing us to dedicate today's show to Ray. Have a good evening. We'll talk to you next week.
Boomer.